Hi, thank you for listening. I'm Sam Rashkin with the Department of Energy. I'm the Chief Architect with the Buildings Technology Program. I'm going to talk today about a book I've just completed called Retooling the U.S. Housing Industry, how it got here, why it's broken, how to fix it. So first thing I want to talk about just our new reality. And in fact, the housing industry has lost its key star players. Housing prices for the existing home stock, some call it the used home stock, have dropped tremendously in the wake of wave of foreclosures. Our short sales are about 5 or 6 million. As of about 6-7 months ago, there are 11 million homes in inventory. So many of them are at fire sales. And in many cases, a U.S. home builder cannot build a home for the price of these existing homes. The second player the housing industry has lost is a size advantage. Essentially, U.S. housing increase in house size had decreased in 2009. It may be slightly increasing again, but it seems to most observers that it's not going to keep that continuous sharp increase that we've seen for many decades. So building bigger and bigger and bigger may not be the cost or the competitive advantage it used to be. And the other major factor is assured appreciation. Many home buyers, particularly the wave of people who've experienced foreclosures and short sales, are testimony to the fact that there's no assurance that home prices will continue to go up and up and up. Consumer confidence is surely shaken, and the idea that you have to buy a house to get on the ladder is just not nearly as urgent. I know I purchased 3 homes in my lifetime, and in every case, if I had not purchased when I did, I could not have afforded that house 2 or 3 years later because of that appreciation factor. That today is no longer perceived to be an issue. And then there's this other player that we've lost. So you can just build a home at minimum code. I think that the high performance home has left the station. We expect more performance out of our homes, and builders have to watch a very sharply increasing rate of growth in the rigor of the housing codes. And lastly, the remote location acceptance. There are about 76 million baby boomers who seem to be wanting to go back to urban lifestyles, less yard work and maintenance. And in the same case, the 78 million or so Gen Y population coming up the pipeline to buy new homes, they too are looking at the urban lifestyle. Again, no yard work, close to attractions, nightlife, and so forth. That's a big change in the housing industry. So when you go and look at how the housing industry is going to respond, a very popular NHB statistic that for every $1,000 increase in the price of a new home, you lose close to 250,000 home buyers, seems to be paralyzing the housing industry. The fear of raising cost is traumatic, and I'm going to suggest that's the wrong problem to be focusing on cost. Where the housing industry instead needs to be, the right problem is to be focusing on value. You have to make it compelling for home buyers to want to buy a new home again. Let me give you one example how you have to look outside, away from your customer to find innovation, and how value is so compelling in the marketplace. Look, in the distant future when we used to use cassettes, none of us went to the music store and said, you know, we're tired of analog sound. Can you give us some digital options? Well, the music industry on its own came up with CD music instead of cassettes. And as a business model, innovation surely is compelling. First of all, look at the cost of a CD versus a cassette, a fraction. It may cost just pennies to make a CD versus a cassette. And when you attach the normal profit margin, that's one thing, but then there's this innovation premium. In fact, the CD costs double what a cassette costs, whereas $6 for a cassette, it'd be $14 or $15 for a CD. So even though it cost a fraction of the cost to make, the price was nearly double. And that's because of the value. It was more convenient, it was better quality sound, it lasted longer, it was easy to charge more. It was definitely a better product. I'm going to suggest that the same thing applies to new homes. How do we add more value? Well, if I draw a zero value line on this diagram, and I looked at most homes we've built since World War II, particularly in the suburbs, and compare that to a value-based home, here's how that lays out at first. Essentially, location advantage goes to the existing homes that are closer to the urban centers. So we have to find land that's open further and further away that tends to be less desirable. So how do we compete with those existing homes in the housing industry? Well, first, utility bills is like a absolute easy prize to take if you're a new home builder. You can build today homes that virtually have no net utility bill or are ready for no net utility bill compared to homes that are paying $200, $300, $400, $500 a month for utility bills. That's an amazing value proposition compared to the existing used home. The second value to think about is health risks. If I buy a home that's before 1978, a pre-1978 house, I'm tending to kind of gut most homes I buy. I know that I have to deal with asbestos and I have to deal with lead, and now with the new lead abatement laws, I'm dealing with possibly tens of thousands of dollars of cost to mitigate the lead if I do a gut job on my house. On top of that, we can build homes today that virtually have like no or minimal pollutants inside the products that we build with. Low VOC paints, low VOC carpets, no formaldehydes or the right formaldehydes in plywood, OSB, cabinets, adhesives. We can build, in effect, an organic home. The market today in this country spends about $40 billion a day for organic food. I think people will also spend money to buy a house that keeps the pollutants out of their space they live. We spend 60% of our time indoors in our houses every day. A healthier home is a compelling advantage compared to a used home. The next advantage you should look at is quality construction. Homes built since World War II and subsequently often feature minimal trim, minimal hardware, cheap doors, often cheap cabinets. The counters and all the products that are in these homes are often lower quality. If we can build new homes from scratch with the best products or the high quality products, that's a tremendous advantage over the used home. And then on top of that, we can use much, much better design practices. We're learning and starting to apply things like open design, but other features are missing tremendously. It's like the housing industry doesn't even acknowledge what lighting design can do in homes. You can transform an indoor space based on how you design a lighting system, and lighting at its best is an afterthought. Think about storage systems in our homes, or compare it to what think about storage systems in our homes in terms of how delighted people would be to have places to put their vacuum, their brooms, their winter blankets, their keys, their ironing boards, their papers, shoes, where to keep things like, the list I can come up with about 100 things that we don't have places for in our homes, and we don't even think about making it desirable for homeowners so they have absolute places when they come in to put their umbrellas, their boots, their raincoats. When they walk in their homes, they have places where they drop their keys, where they do everything. We have no storage systems in our home. We ignore that in the design. We ignore built-ins, we ignore color. There's so many factors that are missing in how we design homes. And then the next feature is landscaping. I hate to suggest this at an architecture conference, but I often say that landscaping architecture trumps exterior architecture. It's amazing the impact when you go through communities that have beautiful landscaping, done right with mature trees, and we ignore that often in how we develop neighborhoods. Then we can be much more value than existing neighborhoods by applying advanced technologies. It's amazing the obsolescence factor you get when you buy a used house. The new technologies we can use in how we build basements, how we build walls, in the components, the hardware, in the water protection systems, in the heating and cooling systems, in the water heating systems, in the water delivery systems, in the water flow systems. Every way we build a house, we can apply technologies that are missing in used homes. And then on top of that, because we apply all these proven techniques for water management, for energy efficiency, for quality construction, we can do something unheard of in the housing industry. We can offer a 30-year warranty. Now, right now, what you get in housing is a warranty typically for 1 year. So that's about 1/200th of the lifetime of the product we get a warranty. Can you imagine buying a car and getting a 100th of its lifetime warranty, about 1,000 or 2,000 mile warranty in a car? It's amazing that homes come with that. And then after we build a home, we run away, and as a builder, we don't even have our name and brand and a company logo on the home. It's like we don't want to even have our buyers know who we were after we finish construction. We could do much, much better in terms of maintenance and liability compared to used homes. By when you buy a new home, you get a 30-year warranty. Look what it's done for the car industry to offer a 100,000 mile warranty and 60,000 mile warranties on their products. And then lastly, I don't think a used home can compete with a newly built home with all these value features and what you can expect at time of resale. So what would it cost a builder to apply this approach to build a new home compared to what they're doing? So let's start and look at that with a business as usual model, how we build normal code minimum homes compared to a value-based home. And essentially what happens is, first, we can save money by going to the right size home. We can engineer space that we don't need out of homes, and then we can do a special trick called built-in cabinets. If all the rooms had built-in storage and built-in cabinets and built-in desks and built-in hutch and shelves and storage, all of a sudden a 2,500 square foot house feels like a 3,300 square foot house, or a 2,000 square foot house feels like a 2,800 square foot house. And if the hard costs on a house that we save are $60, $70, $80, $90 a square foot, and you're saving 500, 600, 700 square feet, very quickly you have $40,000, $50,000 of hard cost savings by doing a right size home. Now, what do you do with those savings is the trick. And the first thing I recommend is that you invest in design experts, people who know how to choose color, people who know how to design lighting, people who know how to do trim and specify hardware and give you a quality interior finish. And normally with particularly production builders, the investment in the design is far too short of where it needs to be. The next thing I would do is invest in home performance. So when I say home performance, I mean energy efficiency, energy efficient components, indoor air quality, and disaster resistance. And if you invest in all those things and put more money, it actually winds up that your house costs less. And the reason the house costs less is because the monthly energy savings are greater than the increase in the mortgage attributed to those home performance features. So we add cost for home performance and we get a tremendous benefit in terms of value. The next thing I would do in terms of cost is I would then invest part of that $40,000 savings on size into premium finishes, fixtures, built-ins. I'm running out of time, so I'll go through this a little more quickly. I would invest in healthy air components. I would invest in site and landscaping. I would invest in customer service, or I would spend less on customer service costs because my house is so much more durable, so much better built. I don't have to come back and do repairs. And I can then also save money on waste by managing waste. And then I can save money on marketing costs because a house built this well will attract tremendous more interest in the marketplace. So what happens is we have the normal 8-12% profit margin, but because this value-based house has so much to offer home buyers, we have that big innovation value premium, just like we would have had in the CD versus the cassette. And when I put retooling the U.S. housing industry together, this is what it deals with. It's a blueprint for how to add all that value piece by piece in the house. And the way it does that is by taking high-performance homes, which is my normal focus in my day job, and it adds the other missing pieces that come into a complete house that we should consider, which is sustainable land development, good housing design, quality construction, and effective home sales. All those things, every one of them, when I survey them in the industry, are substantially less than where they need to be. So I address how we can fix those in the housing industry today. And they do that chapter by chapter. Each chapter looks at the process, the goals, how they're achieved, what is the component in detail, how it got there, why it's broken, how to fix it, and basically a summary of the story. So I have to wrap up. So let me just say in the end, this is basically what I try to cover in the book. I think the U.S. housing industry is at a point today where it has to figure out how to raise its bar. The new home has lost so much interest in the marketplace. I think this is a great way to do it. Hey, thank you for your attention.